Who jumps out of perfectly good airplanes in the name of science? Mr. C.
Well, happy Monday to you, and what a happy Monday it is. Now, before we get off to the really cool stuff and get going on it, if you'll do your do nows, if you'll get your journal out and turn it to the Divine Design section of your journal. If you'll turn it there, we'll do a little bit of work with that in just a little bit. And in your lesson planner, so out comes your lesson planner too, your homework is anything we go over today, review it. That's your homework. And I'm just giving you a heads up. Sometime this week there's going to be a pop quiz plus a regular quiz, big quiz or small test like last Friday, this Friday. So most Fridays I'm going to give you a test. We'll work through the week and then test on Friday, work through the week and test on Friday. It's just a good way to do it. And then the weekend off. I know you like that with out any homework. I'm sure you do. So anyway, look for a pop quiz sometime in the middle of the week. Just, look for it. Okay? You've got a tan sheet. You need a tan sheet today. I'm going to have you write a little bit on the tan sheet. So we'll get to that in just a little bit. But back to the happy Monday. So hands up if you're a snowboarder or skier. Mr. C, you can't see us. I know, but I'm curious. So anyway, I'll ask Mr. Phillip, how many of you really are snowboarders or skiers? Okay? Good news pour vous. For you. Good news for you. So this system that we just had go through the state and drop snow in Flagstaff, maybe up to a foot of snow in Flagstaff, certainly a foot or more at Snow Bowl. I'm not sure about the White Mountains and Sunrise Ski Resort, but anyway, Snow Bowl was supposed to get a foot, and then a bigger storm following up today through Tuesday. Who knows? Maybe at the ski resorts it will drop another 2 feet of snow. Now when I tell you we're going to pray for snowstorms, maybe a dozen snowstorms, here's what I have in mind. I'm thinking of a footer, 1 foot of snow. That's a nice amount of snow. That's, as that piles up, 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot, it settles, but as it piles up, that's going to be a lot of snow to melt in the spring, cause runoff, and eventually get to the reservoirs. So that's what we wanted. Except we have had a La Nina weather pattern. La Nina, A on the end, A on the end. Warm has an A in it. So we've had a warm, dry weather pattern. But it's shifted. The jet stream has dropped. Thank you, Lord. We've been praying for that. How long will it stay low and bring storms, blobs of moisture, from the Pacific Ocean over Southern California and Southern Arizona, including Phoenix, Central, Southern Arizona? So we don't know. Let's just keep praying that that conveyor belt just keeps going and keeps bringing blobs of moisture like it hasn't been for 3 months or so, for all of November, all of December, most of January. So it's just been so dry, and on top of it we had a dry monsoon in the summer, which isn't a monsoon, but we usually get some rain, and we didn't this past summer, hardly any. So we've been really dry since last probably March. So April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, most of January. Holy cow. Almost 9 to 10-ish months. It's been really dry. Well, now we're getting a big blob of moisture. Now I have to tell you this. Weather forecasting, predicting the weather, is not a very exact science. It's not very good. Now, I'm going to ask you this on Friday. So I'm writing myself a note. And I'm going to ask you this. I'm circling it right here. I didn't tell you this in our little micrometeorology unit. I didn't tell you this, and I should have. The major thing that's changed weather prediction in the last 50 years, since I've really been 60 years, since I've really been paying attention to the weather. It's always been sort of a hobby for me. I've always enjoyed it. You know, I was a weather freak. Even when I was in junior high, I just was fascinated by the weather. I'm a naturalist. It's one of my interests in science. So anyway, back when I was paying attention in junior high, we weren't good at predicting the weather. Meteorologists were not good. What's the number one thing that has made them, I'm not going to say way better, because it's not great. It's just, there's so many variables with meteorology. But what's made them improve quite a bit? On your tan sheet, write down your hypothesis. What has changed weather forecasting? Big time. Not made them great, but made them good, fair to good, as opposed to not good, not very good. So, what do you think it is? Write it on your white sheet or your tan sheet. Not an option. Write something down. Please don't write down, just your name. Actually write a hypothesis. What do you think has made weather predictors, meteorologists, way better? What's made them way better? Weather satellites. Satellites up above track weather systems and, writing myself a note, and you can see where they're going. Now, a lot of times you can see where they're going, but you can't see what they're going to do. So they'll go where they think they're going to go, but then the dynamics that produce lots of condensation, lots of rain or snow, doesn't happen. They don't know all the variables. It's tricky, really tricky. So, and then the other thing that happens, they don't even know where they're going to go. They predict where they're going to go, where they are because of where they are right now, and where they seem to be moving, and then they move another direction and they're not even sure why. And they go, we missed it again. So, weather satellites is probably the biggie. Anyway, the weather satellites, they might miss it, but the weather satellites seem to be indicating that a massive PAC-O, Pacific Ocean blob of moisture, is going to make its way over Arizona today and tonight and tomorrow in the morning and drop a lot of precipitation. Rain, but then snow in the high country, and actually snow down pretty low. So Sedona's supposed to get over a foot of snow. Four Peaks, which is like 6,700 feet to the northeast in the Mazat Zal mountain range. We rarely see snow on it. We should be able to see snow on Four Peaks. Hey, Mr. Chambers, I have a question. Why is it called Four Peaks? Because it has four mountain peaks. Oh, okay. So it's the prominent series of four mountains in the Mazat Zals to the east and a little bit north. So anyway, we'll have a look later in the week and see if they get their snow covered. I hope so. It's always fun to see that. So anyway, we'll see what happens. It's supposed to be coming kind of a big deal. Really big deal. Okay. So what I wanted to do next, I wanted to go over the test, then I wanted to do one other thing, and then I want to teach you one thing about the metric system, and that's about it for the day. All right, here is the test, really quick, the answers to the test. Okay, so you can kind of see how you ended up doing. John 1:3 was worth 2 points. All things were made by him, and without him nothing was made that has been made. What does it mean? Jesus made everything. Jesus made all matter. Jesus made every atom in the universe. What idea about John 1:3 does Mr. C love? Just the idea of he created everything. The creation evidence. And then you've got the creation evidence in science too, which we'll get to in a minute. What exactly, number 5, is anyone's superpower? It's all the gifts and your personality that God gave you, a lot of it using your DNA, that makes you unique. God loves the way he designed you. He thinks you're cool. He thinks your genes, your DNA that he designed you with are cool. He really likes the way he made you. And as you get older and older, you'll more and more like the way he made you. It gets fun to figure out who he made you to be, as I keep saying. So, where does a person's superpower come from? God. What's the purpose of a superpower? To bless you, to bless God, to glorify him, and to bless others. Those reasons. Okay, how about smarts now and a potential job? There were 9 smarts, is that right? So I'll look them over. I will grade them, but math smart is one. You might become an engineer or an accountant. Body smart, you might end up becoming an athlete. You might end up becoming a fitness instructor, maybe. I'm just throwing those out really quick. Nature smart, you might end up being a scientist or a doctor or just something to do with the sciences. Maybe a science teacher, biology teacher, maybe. Okay? Nature smart, that's me. And then people smart. You might end up becoming a counselor, a psychologist. Those are some possibilities. Teacher. So, because you're people smart. Or work for a company in PR, public relations. So, music smart. Obviously a musician, maybe a music instructor, maybe a music teacher. So, professional singer. Art smart, artists. Maybe a designer, maybe some kind of area of design and engineering, perhaps. Okay, so 14. These smarts are part of a person's superpower. True. True or false? All of these smarts can be developed and grown over time. True. And daughter Laura will talk about that on Thursday. So 16 and 17, 2 reasons why the metric system is so popular around the world. It's easy to use. It's easy. It's simple. There's just a few standard units that you need to know, and then there's just a few prefixes to know, which I'll teach you about today. Also, it's base 10, a base 10 system, so there they are. 3 main standard units of the metric system: for length, the meter; for volume, liter with an L; and for weight, gram. And then 21 is a measurement word that everyone knows about, like meter, and uses it, or gram. That's a standard unit. Standard unit, meter, liter, gram, or for temperature, Celsius. Boiling temperature of water in the metric system, 100 C. 212 is Fahrenheit. And that's why I said not 212. Freezing temperature of water in the metric system, 0 C, or 32. And by the way, close to the valley, it's going to get down to 32 at night. So this could be one of the storms that brings us snow the closest to the valley that it gets. So, by the way, just for interest's sake, I heard that Snowbowl already has just about run out of all their lift passes. So if you're a skier or snowboarder, you might talk to your parents about that. Okay, 24, the correct abbreviation for gram, lowercase g. Correct abbreviation for liter, lowercase l, or uppercase. I'm not going to take off for that. Correct abbreviation for meter, just M. M as in Mary. 27, why Arizona doesn't often have violent weather. Remember, we don't get the clash of warm and cold air producing huge cumulonimbus clouds like they do in Kansas and Oklahoma and Nebraska and South Dakota and Alabama and Mississippi. Like, we just don't get that here. 28, if you're in a rain shadow, you're on the dry side. There's not much moisture left for you, so that's why it's called a rain shadow. You're in the shadow of where it rained, but you're not getting the rain or the snow yourself. 29, a La Nina weather pattern brings what kind of weather to Arizona? Dry and warm. 30, an El Nino pattern brings wet and cool, like we have right now, maybe. So awesome. 31, what moves blobs of moisture clouds from the Paco to Arizona? The jet stream. 32, humidity is the amount of moisture that's in the air. 33, true or false? Even though the moon is a vacuum, it does have gravity. True, it does. 1/6. It does have gravity. Remember, a vacuum just doesn't have any matter or any air. What is a vacuum? Just an environment without any air, not gravity. Virga, 35, is rain that falls from a cloud and doesn't hit the ground. 36, God's conveyor belt to bring blobs of moisture over us, like happening now. Water cycle. So 36, water cycle. And then a bonus worth half a point. What's the massive evidence about the fossils, leftovers of plants, animals, and humans, that prove evolution never happened? It did not happen. No tweeners or no ape men. I should have taught you this. God made apes and God made men, but God don't make no ape men. There just aren't any ape men fossils. When you're told that, it's a big fat lie. It's a BFL. It's a big fat lie. Whoever's telling you that's getting a Pinocchio. Big Pinocchio nose. They're lying. There is not scientific evidence for ape men or for tweeners. And one of the leading paleontologists said the extreme rarity of transitional forms in the fossil record exists as, he says it's kind of like a little secret of evolution. They kind of hide it. So he admitted it. They don't have tweeners. And then I ask you to give me a divine design example and how it convincingly proves that it could have never evolved. So anyway, there you have it. And it's a perfect time for a quick little break. So any catch up, you're going to do this now. You're going to make sure you've got your journal out during this time. Turn to the divine design sections, please. Please turn there really quick. And also, if you'd keep that tan sheet, you're going to use it as well. Okay, divine design section. Any questions for Mr. Phillip? You probably don't have any today, but I'll take that break anyway. So break, go. Alrighty, back for you, and you've got your divine design sheet. Now, on your tan sheet, I'd like you to write down your guess as far as Mr. C's 3 top divine designs. What do you think? 3 top on your tan sheet. What do you think are my 3 all-time favorite divine designs that absolutely scream there has to be a God? What do you think? And I'll tell you my top 2, and then I'm going to show you my big fat list of divine designs. And then I hope I have time to teach you. I think I will. To teach you one additional metric system key thing. Okay, you got them down? My 2 favorite divine designs. Here they are. Number 1, DNA. It's just at the top of the list. Or probably in a tie would be the human body. It's just so complicated. So complex. Okay? You can't beat DNA for complexity. There's no way it happened by itself. There are 6 billion components to DNA, and they have to have a certain order. It can't be just random schmandom. It can't be. Okay, probably my second would be Earth's Just Rights. Earth's Just Rights. And then look at all of these. These are my first 25. Can you see those? Probably can't see those very well. There we go. First 25. First 25. Here they are. I'm just going to rapidly run through them, then I'm going to give you my second 25. DNA, Earth's Just Rights. The cell, human cell. Organelles like ribosomes and mitochondria. Proteins, which are made of an exact pattern of amino acids. The human body, the systems of the human body. Right now, because of COVID, the immune system and how complex it is. Atoms and how complex they are and the way they're built. And then the strong and the weak force that hold matter together. Have you heard of strong and weak force before? We'll get to them. Gravity. Duh. Thank you, Isaac Newton. The sun and what it's made of and the way it produces heat and light by fusion. Beauty. Beauty is not accidental. It has certain components, certain parts, that when we notice these parts, we go, that is beautiful. Well, if those parts that made whatever it was that you think is beautiful, if it didn't have those parts, you wouldn't think it was beautiful. 14, the giraffe. 15, humpback whale. All whales, really. 16, the honeybee. 17, the mimic octopus that I think you saw a video on. Camouflage. The koala. The wombat. There's a fish in Antarctica that's amazing. Ants in Minnesota that shouldn't live because it's so cold. The clownfish that should die because it's poisoned by the anemone that it lives in. The marine iguana. Cheetahs. And I've got an additional, how many? An additional 27. Animal migration. The salmon, which migrates. Monarch butterfly migration. The archer fish. The squirt gun fish. Flying squirrels. How do they fly? They don't really fly, but how do they parachute? They've got a parachute. Kangaroo rat. Never has to take a drink. Near and dear to all of us here on the Sonoran Desert. The noctuid moth. Bird anatomy. Their equipment. Bird migration. Bird songs. Bird nests. The Arctic plover and its migration. The peregrine falcon and its speed of 260, 70 miles an hour. Owls. The bar-tailed godwit that you know about. The long-distance bird flyer. The chameleon. Oh, I know what it's got. Photosynthesis in green plants. Chlorophyll, the green coloring in plants. So complex. Seed dispersals, how they are spread everywhere. Plant tropisms, the Venus flytrap plant. The pitcher plant. The saguaro cactus on the Sonoran Desert. The ocotillo plant, some of you have it in your yard. The palo verde, some of you have in your yard. Insect pheromones, echolocation. And I could go on and on. I've got another probably 50 of these in my Bible under Romans 1. In Romans 1 it says, there's a way you can know there's a God. In Romans chapter 1, because of what God made, you look at what he made and go, there's got to be a maker because of the complexity. It couldn't have just anything that you can look at in the creation and go, couldn't happen by accident. No sirree, Bob or Bill or Betty. No chance. It happened by itself. Well, Romans 1 says there's got to be a God who made it. If you've got creation, there's got to be a creator. If you've got stuff, there's got to be a stuffer. If you've got stuff that was made, there's got to be a maker. So, anyway, okay. So there's all of that. Now, the metric system. I'd like you to, in your journal, find a page, and you're going to stick this in your journal. Now, you know the metric system is real simple, right? And here's further proof of that. The metric system is used all over the world except in the United States on a regular basis. Why? There was just resistance by citizens in the 1970s to switch to the metric system. People just didn't want to switch. So here's what I want to teach you today. Get this. So you've got meter, liter, gram, right? So meter for length, liter for glug, 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 volume, and for weight, gram. How do you figure out how much of a meter you've got, or how much of a liter you've got, or how much of a gram you've got? How do you figure that out? Easy. You just stick a code word in front. A meter, the same one in front of liter, the same one in front of gram. Let's say you're dealing with thousands. So 1,000, thousands. You're dealing with thousands of meters. You just put kilo in front of meter. Kilometer, and then tell how many. That's so many thousand meters. Let's say you want to do thousands of grams. What do? Just put kilo in front of gram, kilogram. What if you want to do liters? Yeah, liters, kiloliters. Now I'm going to teach you a little poem, and this is going in your journal wherever you've put your metric system information. So go there now quickly. Metric system information in your journal, not an option. Mr. Phillip is encouraging this, making sure this happens. Find in your journal. Mr. C, I don't have my journal with me today. You're supposed to. So if you don't, put it on your tan sheet and then transfer it. And make sure your journal's here tomorrow. All right, here it is. It's a little poem. It's King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. Some of you have heard of it. King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. Just 7 words. Now, in your journal, you're going to dedicate a page to the King Henry sentence. King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. Then you're going to write down King Henry on the left side, kind of a column, and skip lines. King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. On the far left side, like this. I'll show you. I can do this. Maybe. Okay, I'm getting there. All right, here we go. I think I got this. See that? King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. I didn't quite uncover it enough, but you can see it there. King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. Stick that down on the far left side of a journal page. King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. It's just a silly sentence to help you remember the 6 code words. And then, so it's King, kilo, and then K for the abbreviation, and then 1,000. And then Henry, hecto, H, lowercase letters for the abbreviations, 100. Died, deca, 10, DA. By base 1.0, there's no code word, just like a placeholder. Drinking deci, D for 0.1. Chocolate centi 0.01. Milk, milli, because it's the smallest one we use. M 0.01. Now here it is. You're sticking this down on that page now, aren't you? Quickly, we don't have lots of time. Probably another 3 minutes. King, kilo, K, 1,000. Henry, hecto, H, 100. Di, deca, DA, 10. I'm sorry. Yeah, 10. By base 1.0. Mr. C, that's not all of them. I know. King, kilo, K, 1,000. Henry, hecto, H, 100. So it's got to be in your journal. And you're going to study it tonight, aren't you now? King, kilo, K, 1000. Henry, hecto, H, 100. Die, deca, DA, 10. By, base, 1.0. Okay, here are the last three. King Henry died by drinking deci, 0.1. And then milk, and then it's milli m, 0.01. So here it is. Drinking deci, D, small d, 0.1. Chocolate centi, C, 0.01. Milk milli, M, 0.001. Are you getting it? How's it going? It's got to be in your journal, the whole enchilada. All right, let's see if I can get the whole thing. Look at yours and finish up. King, kilo, K, 1000. Henry, hecto, H, 100. Died, deca, DA, and then 10. By, base, it's just a placeholder, 1.0. Drinking, deci, small d, and then 0.1. Chocolate, centi is the prefix, the metric system prefix, and then it's C, and then it's 0.01. Milk, milli, it's just a small amount, 1,000. So milli, so it's milk, milli, M, small m, 0.001. Okay? If you need any more time, Mr. Phillip can help with that. Make sure you've got yours. So you can't actually look over at someone else's. I don't want you to get too close. But if you don't quite have it done and someone's done, it's okay if they held it up to you, say through the plexiglass, and just showed it to you. Not in front or back, but right beside you. Okay? So there it is again. Those are the prefixes you put in front of meter, liter, or gram to tell you how much of a meter, liter, or gram that you have. It's why the metric system is so simple. So you can use the same interchangeable code word or abbreviation. So homework, review all that metric system information tonight. You never know when you're going to have a pop quiz. Could be tomorrow, could be Wednesday, could be Thursday, quiz on Friday as well. I'll see you back on Tuesday. I hope we can talk about a lot of snow in the high country. So how many of you like drinking? Raise your hand. Good, because this kind of snow is going to put a lot of water back in the lakes that eventually will make its way out of your tap. So see you on Tuesday.